Warsaw, 1939, September. A man stands in front of his bank. The doors are locked. A handwritten sign reads, "Temporarily closed." He has money, a good job, an apartment, a family. He has everything except what he needs right now. His grandfather knew how to slaughter a pig, preserve meat for winter, repair a roof, distill alcohol, barter, negotiate with strangers, and grow food in rocky soil. His grandfather survived a war, a famine, and a revolution. This man doesn't know any of that. He knows how to file tax returns and operate a telephone switchboard. In 6 weeks, that knowledge will be worth nothing. Part 1. The Great Forgetting. Most people believe that progress means we no longer need old skills, that modernity replaced them with something better, that the system will always function. That belief is the most expensive mistake a middle-class person can make. Here's what actually happened. Between 1950 and 2000, 3 generations of middle-class families in developed countries systematically offloaded every practical skill to institutions. Food production to supermarkets, health management to hospitals, security to police forces, financial survival to banks and governments. This wasn't laziness, it was rational. As long as the system worked. The system doesn't always work. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. Within 48 hours, a modern American city, with electricity, hospitals, police, and supermarkets, ceased to function. Over 1,800 people died. Not from the storm, from the collapse of systems they assumed were permanent. The people who survived best were not the wealthiest. They were the ones who still remembered something older. Part 2. What the rich never forgot. There's a pattern that runs through every major crisis of the 20th century. The wealthy lost fortunes, governments collapsed, currencies became paper. But certain families, not always the richest, survived intact. They had something in common. Not gold, not offshore accounts, practical knowledge. In post-WWI Germany, as hyperinflation destroyed savings overnight, the families that maintained agricultural knowledge, even as a hobby, could feed themselves when others could not. A wheelbarrow of cash couldn't buy bread, but a garden could grow it. In Soviet Russia, the population that survived the purges and famines of the 1930s was disproportionately composed of people who maintained informal trade networks, home production skills, and the ability to operate outside official systems. The state could seize a factory. It could not seize knowledge of how to repair one. In Argentina's 2001 economic collapse, the middle class, which had trusted the banks, trusted the peso, trusted the system, lost everything in days. The people who adapted fastest were those who could produce something: food, medicine, repair services. They became the new, informal economy, while the formal one burned. Notice what these have in common. Not survivalist fantasies, not bunkers. Ordinary, practical, pre-industrial skills that the middle class had been quietly discarding for 50 years. Part 3. The 7 skills. These are not hypothetical. These are documented, historically verified. The skills that separated survival from collapse across multiple crises in multiple countries. Skill 1. Food production, not farming, not homesteading, the basic ability to grow edible food in a small space. In World War II Britain, the Dig for Victory campaign converted 1.4 million allotments into food production sites. Private gardens fed families when supply chains failed. This wasn't ideology. It was arithmetic. You cannot import food when ports are blocked. The skill isn't complicated. It's soil, seeds, water, and patience. What's complicated is that most middle-class people in 2024 cannot identify which plants are edible in their own neighborhood, cannot grow a tomato, cannot store food for more than a week without refrigeration. This is not a lifestyle choice. It is a vulnerability. Skill 2. Water. A human being dies in 3 days without water. Modern plumbing has made this feel theoretical. It isn't. In Bosnian cities during the 1992 to 1995 siege, urban residents who survived described water as the central organizing fact of daily life. Those who knew how to purify water, from rivers, from rain, from unconventional sources, had something to trade, something to sustain themselves, something others desperately needed. The knowledge required is minimal. The difference it makes is absolute. Skill 3, basic medicine, not surgery, not diagnosis. The ability to treat infection, manage wounds, handle fever, and administer basic care without a hospital. In every historical crisis, hospitals are overwhelmed within days. Those with even basic medical knowledge, how to suture, how to recognize infection, how to use available plants medicinally, become essential. They don't just survive, they become nodes of community stability. The middle class has outsourced this entirely. We call a doctor for things our grandparents handled at a kitchen table. The knowledge is gone. The dependency remains. Skill 4, barter and negotiation. When currency collapses, value doesn't disappear, it relocates. In Zimbabwe's hyperinflation of 2008, the functional economy operated entirely in barter and foreign currency. Those who understood the logic of value exchange, what people actually need, what creates leverage in negotiation, how to build trust with strangers, thrived. Those who waited for the system to reset did not. Barter is not primitive. It is the foundation of every economy before abstraction. The middle class, living entirely within abstracted financial systems, has lost the instinct for it. Skill 5, tool use and repair. The ability to fix things. This sounds simple. It isn't simple to most people under 50 in developed countries. We replaced repair with replacement. We replaced understanding with consumption. A person who can repair an engine, fix plumbing, maintain electrical systems, or build basic structures with available materials becomes, in a crisis, extraordinarily valuable. In post-Soviet collapse in the 1990s, the informal economy that kept Russian cities functioning was built almost entirely on people who could fix things that the state could no longer provide. They didn't have money, they had skills, and skills in that context were worth more than money. Skill 6, community building. The middle class atomized. This is documented across multiple sociological studies. As prosperity increased, community bonds weakened. We moved. We commuted. We built lives inside nuclear families and digital networks instead of physical communities. In every crisis studied, Katrina, the siege of Sarajevo, the Argentine collapse, the 2011 Japanese earthquake, the decisive factor in survival was not individual resources, it was community density, people who knew their neighbors, who had established trust before the crisis, who had informal networks of mutual support, consistently outperformed isolated individuals with greater material resources. You cannot build community during a crisis. You can only activate the community you already have. Skill 7, psychological stability under uncertainty. This is the one no one talks about. The middle class was conditioned for predictability, careers with trajectories, plans with timelines, systems that responded to effort with reward. This conditioning produces people who function brilliantly within stable systems and collapse psychologically when systems destabilize. Viktor Frankl, writing from inside a Nazi concentration camp, documented that survival had almost nothing to do with physical strength. It had everything to do with the capacity to find meaning in uncertainty, to act without knowing outcomes, to maintain agency in environments designed to destroy it. The people who survived the worst crises of the 20th century shared one characteristic: they could function without certainty. The middle class, trained by stability to expect it, often cannot. Part 4, the mechanism of forgetting. None of this happened by accident. There is a structural logic to why the middle class forgot these skills. And understanding that logic is more important than learning the skills themselves, every skill outsourced to a system is a dependency created. Dependencies create customers. Customers create revenue. Revenue creates institutions with an interest in maintaining those dependencies. The food industry has no interest in you growing food. The medical industry has no interest in you treating minor illness at home. The financial industry has no interest in you understanding barter. The housing industry has no interest in you knowing how to build or repair your own shelter. This is not conspiracy, this is incentive structure. Systems optimize for their own survival. The side effect is your progressive helplessness. Consider education. The skills that dominated human curriculum for 10,000 years Agriculture, medicine, trade, construction, community organization were systematically removed from formal education in the 20th century, replaced by skills that produce employees, literacy, numeracy, compliance, specialization. An employee is useful to a system. A self-sufficient person is not. This is not an accusation, it is an observation, and it has a predictable consequence. A middle class that is brilliant at operating within systems and helpless when they stop. Part 5. What's coming? This is not about collapse as a fantasy. It's about systemic fragility as a reality. The systems the middle class depends on, supply chains, financial infrastructure, energy grids, medical systems, institutional stability, are more complex than at any point in human history. Complexity creates efficiency. It also creates brittleness. COVID-19 demonstrated in 2020 what historians already knew. Global supply chains can be disrupted in weeks. Supermarket shelves empty in days. Medical systems saturate in months. Governments, regardless of ideology, respond to systemic stress by prioritizing the system, not the individual. This wasn't an anomaly. This was a preview. Climate instability, energy transition, geopolitical fragmentation, AI-driven labor displacement, financial system stress. These are not hypothetical threats. They are ongoing processes. Each one has the potential to stress the systems the middle class depends on for its survival. The question is not whether disruption will occur. It always does. The question is what you carry into it. The man in Warsaw in 1939 was not stupid. He was not unprepared by his own standards. He had done everything right within the system he lived in. The system stopped being right. His grandfather's knowledge didn't disappear when it was no longer needed. It waited. Most knowledge waits. The question is whether it's waiting in your hands or in a history book no one is reading. The middle class was built on the assumption that the right institutions make individual capability irrelevant. That assumption has been tested repeatedly, historically, catastrophically. The evidence is clear. The institutions that failed never announced their failure in advance. They just closed their doors and put up a sign.